All right. Well, nothing to report in regards to anything other than just getting ready here for the 10-10-10 today. I think it's just meeting with the guys in our meetings this morning. They got a little refresher from having those 3 days off, which is always great physically, mentally, and now we get to get going on the Rams and put a good day together today, have a fast practice, and then get going on Wednesday. They'll have tomorrow off. So with that, I'll open up.
You have a different feeling today, like first day almost?
Yeah, it feels different in the fact that there's obviously less people. Now it's the first day, quote unquote, of really prepping for the Rams, and now we go over little things like the logistics of the itinerary, how the day looks, what a normal week looks like during the regular season, and because you can't always act like everybody knows, so we always want to make sure we're speaking to everybody.
You obviously have familiarity with this defense from the last 3 years. In what ways do you anticipate seeing Raheem's fingerprints on what they do now?
That'll be one of the things, Dan, is just trying to see where he's at with that. I think he's a heck of a football coach, Raheem Morris. He's obviously proven what he can do in this league at different levels on different sides of the ball. Anytime you come into a new team, and you're always going to want to do some things that you like and that you feel comfortable with, but at the same time, they had a pretty good defense last year. So there'll be some things that'll be unscouted that I want to make sure that we're trying to stay together with our rules on how we handle things. But I just got a lot of respect for him. I think he's a great coach, and I hear nothing but good things about him.
Things change, obviously, year to year, but what are the common denominators and the struggles you guys have had offensively against them?
Yeah, offensively, for us, sometimes going into those games, just the way I guess really the last 2 years, there were some times where in the red zone we weren't real effective. That first game in 2018, you could kind of feel you thought going into it might be a lower scoring game, just the mentality going into it, but that's kind of their philosophy defensively. I know they like to get you in 3rd and 7+, and if they get you there, it's very difficult. With the defensive players they have, it all obviously starts with Donald, number 99, and then it goes from there. They got great players around there with Ramsey and everybody else, but schematically with the players in the scheme, they do some good stuff, and so I'm sure that they'll have some unscouted things for us.
Man, with Danny Trevathan, what would Danny Trevathan's status be in the old IR rules? Would he still be on IR? Would he be a game day inactive, or would he play through it at whatever percent he is?
Yeah, I don't know what he'd be with the old rules with the IR. I just know that right now, Mark, for him, this gives him a good opportunity to be able to get back to that 100% that we want to get him at. This buys him a little bit of time, and obviously not being out there for the whole training camp, I think he needs it. It'll be good for him. So whatever the old rules were, the status is, I'm not real sure how that would go with him right now, but I just know right now we feel comfortable doing that with him, and I know he understands it. Obviously, he wants to be out there playing, but he also understands it's a long season.
You said earlier that you're not into the load management thing. You don't see that as a thing, but are you any more attentive to guys being 100% as opposed to playing at 80 with a 17 game? As the season goes on, do you think has that changed at all? Do you think?
No, yeah, you want your guys to be as healthy as possible. We have a couple guys on this team that are going to have their own plan. They're a little bit of outliers with their career, how long they've been in this league and how old they are. So some of those guys will treat maybe a little differently for that reason. But we want to try to get guys as much as we can back to 100% from the training camp. You ask the guys that are out there now, these last 3 days probably build them back up a little bit, because even the day before their break, you could ask some of them and they were still kind of feeling it. So I don't know if you'll ever have anybody 100%, but we want to try to get everybody as close as we can to it.
You guys rotated through 4, maybe 5 punt returners last year after Tariq went out. Is there a level of confidence that Simba can stabilize that for the time being anyway? Yeah,
for us, you see what he's done in his past, and again, I think that's a good addition for us that's going to help us out in special teams, and whether it's the returner or whether it's just different phases on special teams, he's done that. He's done a good job with it. And when you lose a guy like Tariq Cohen or Cordero Patterson, every year is a little bit different. So it's going to give somebody opportunities to make some plays, and he's going to be one of those guys.
Matt, looking around the league, it's clear that coronavirus positives are going to affect games, affect rosters. What did you guys learn from last year in terms of making sure you had a plan B in place that carried over to this season?
Probably last year it was more about you were able to travel some guys, mainly practice squad guys, as backup plans on the day that you go to the game or the day before the game. And now you probably don't have to travel as many, so you can be selective there. The other part of that too was kind of the prep part of making sure that when you created the game plan early in the week that you had a contingency plan if player A, B, or C was not going to or was going to show a positive. So I don't think you feel that as much this year, but you still have to be aware and understand, especially at specific positions.
How many practice squad guys do you think you're going to bring?
I don't know. I would say if I had to guess, it's probably about 6 to 8.
And I know at the beginning, when we, 6 weeks ago, Ryan said you're about 85% or higher. Now that the roster's been whittled down, do you have a clearer sense of how vaccinated your team is?
I don't know the exact number. I do believe it's above 90. I feel good about that, but I don't know the exact number.
Yeah, when you get a kid like Rashad Breeland, a former #1 pick, but now you're a 7th team in 7 seasons, where do you start? Just trying to unlock that. And have you got any kids you've ever worked with who had that kind of background? You've been able to make functional players?
So with Prashad, he has been with several different teams, and being a first-round draft pick, we've been looking at him for a couple years now, so we're pretty familiar with his path. And so I think the way you attack it is, number one, you always want to give these guys a fresh start. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. The other part is just going to be is making sure that he can grasp the terminology. But you just gotta stay positive with them, and then you find out why. Like, why did things not go well here or there, or why did things go well at these other spots? Because I know when he was in Tampa Bay, that second part of the season, I mean, he was really, really good. And so I would love to talk to him and find out, like, what was the why there. And I'm sure he'll have some good answers, and that's our job to be able to try to use him and let him get up to speed because he's super talented.
Matt, a few weeks ago, you said Jason Peters, you wanted to get a gauge of his conditioning level, left open the possibility of a potential rotation. Where are you in terms of kind of gauging where he's at? And do you see rotation possible still?
I feel pretty good right now with him. I think he's in a good place. Just talking to him and talking to Coach Juan, his level of conditioning we feel is good. So it might be something when we get into the game, we just kind of see how he's feeling. And I think we'll plan on going into it with him as the guy. He's played a lot of games, and he understands that football game conditioning, and we're going to have to rely on him a lot as we go through it.
I'm sure you want any in-game package for Justin Fields to be a surprise, but how much is the injury risk a factor in consideration of something like that, especially after Mitch got hurt, last year in that kind of situation?
Sure. I mean, when you look at schematically what you want to do, obviously I'm not going to get into anything that we're looking at on any side of the ball. But for all these guys, you can talk about injuries and risks that you take. We talk about it in preseason, but you could even go back to 2018 when we did some different things with defensive players, and there's always risk there. But it is football, and we want to make sure that whatever we're doing with whatever players, we understand that comes with the territory. But for us, we're just focused right now on just prepping as best as we can schematically against the Rams.
Fair to say, in general, you're more risk averse than that. I mean, you're willing to take chances.
Yeah, I think depending. Yeah. I think when you put, if players are able to play and they're 100%, then you just got to decide, okay, when do you want to play them and how do you want to play them, and then you roll with it.
We've heard a few people talk about Jalen Johnson's potential for this season. Just wondering, what have you seen from not only on the field, but also just kind of in his attitude and his.
Yeah, his attitude, Colleen, has been really good. I like the fact he doesn't he doesn't say a whole lot other than when he's out on the field, maybe a little bit. We'll go back and forth, but I think he's just excited to get out here his second year. The game will slow down to him a little bit. He also has taken on a little bit of a leadership role in that back end, which is great. He has those qualities. He's a great kid. And he wants to get better. He puts in a lot of time after practice, and I feel good about where he's at, and I'm looking forward to seeing him have a great year.
Matt, this time last year, there was good reason to be concerned about Robert Quinn. It had been a very choppy offseason. He starts the season on the injury report. After everything that we've talked about for the past year with him trying to get healthy, with Sean maybe trying to coordinate with him how to use him best, Where do you think things stand with one of your most important players right now?
Jason, I like where he's at. I think he's put together a really good offseason with the training camp included. His mindset is great. Physically, he's in a really good spot. Schematically, with Sean, he's in a great place. Now he's just got to go do it. And you guys heard that, the first time that he talked and those guys talked is they're motivated. They're competitors. These guys aren't here at this level and haven't had Defensive Player of the Year for a reason. I mean, this guy is a good football player, and I think he's excited to go out there and be a part of a great defense. And he's done everything he can up to this point right now. And now when we strap it up on Sunday night, he's going to get some opportunities. So it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it.
You feel like you have a different player than you did a year ago?
Well, here's what I'll say to that. So last year for a lot of these guys, that the COVID and the way things hit, and you have different scenarios, meeting new teammates for him specifically. I think this year has been a little bit more comfortable for him. So yeah, I do feel better where he's at now than I did last year at this time, just because of some of the stuff you just mentioned.
Beyond a win total, where would you set the bar for progress this year? What would qualify as progress in 2021?
Well, for all of us, you want to be able to get to a place as a team where you're growing each week, and there's going to be some bumps in the road where you have a tough loss here or there. But you want to be able to, not just when we say, hey, as an offense and identity-wise, you want to grow, and by week 4, 5, or 6, you want to feel like you know what you have. But more so as a team in general, you feel like, hey, we're playing the complementary football, offense, defense, special teams. So that's probably my biggest thing is understanding, hey, let's get better every week, everybody. Let's play complementary football, and if we have a bump in the road, how do we respond to it? I feel like over the years, we've proven that we've done pretty good with those as far as some of the tougher ones we've had. Let's stay away from those tougher ones this year. We had a 4-game losing streak 2 years ago and 6 this year. Those are hard. So let's eliminate those and let's play smart, disciplined football.
For you, you've obviously had an emphasis this year on a micro focus, day by day, week by week. In the back of your mind, how do you keep establishing long-term stability at quarterback as a part of the equation while still staying very, very firmly present in the now?
Well, I would say for me, Dan, is what Justin has done to this point of getting here and what Andy has done for this point right now, right? They've both done exactly what we've asked. Andy has come in here from the start and been a great leader and been a great teammate and being able to take this offense and get us going, right? And he understands that. But when you talk about the future of this franchise and the quarterback that we have, that's where I'm at peace in my heart, knowing what Justin has done and what he's exemplified in this short time. I feel really, really good about that. So that's why I can go to day by day and know that each day that he can grow in practice fundamentally, throughout the week mentally, and then always be prepared. He's extremely prepared, but just in my heart of hearts knowing that this guy is doing everything that we're saying and everything that he wants to do. You feel good about where he's at, and that's why I can go day to day.
You've talked about Andy's preparation since he got here.
Mm-hmm.
How does that compare to the other quarterbacks you've been around, whether it's in Kansas City or here? And how does that make itself known in a game week?
So for me, he's probably, almost identical to the preparation of how Alex Smith was. And we always say, yeah, you talk about Kansas City, you talk about Alex Smith, but those are my experiences in Kansas City was with him as a starter. They're very similar, not just in the prep part, but in the personality and how they lead in practice and on the field. We'll see how Andy is on game day. I know how Alex was, but they're very similar in that regards, and just very calm, but yet competitive. And so, like I always joke about him being a redhead, like he's got that fire in him. He'll get fiery now, and he'll get on his guys when he needs to, or he'll support them too. But he's very similar that way, which I appreciate, and it's comforting as a coach.
Does that take anything off your plate or off of Flip's plate, whether it's just the act of walking him through some stuff that he knows already because he's a veteran, or just the stress of the whole thing?
I think everything in general, because he's calm and he's played in front of 80,000 people before. It's been loud. He's done that in the NFL. He's played that speed of game. He's seen these different blitzes and fronts and stunts, and he's gone through a game and done different cadences and that sort of thing. So that experience is huge. It's valuable. And as a coach and for the teammates that we have, I think they feel that. Now, we'll see as we get out there, but that's just what he reminds me of as a quarterback of other quarterbacks I've been with.
You have not flinched with any questions about Justin Fields this year, especially with Dalton. And you know what a circus that can become. But how prepared are you for kind of the heat to get turned up even more if you hit that bump in the road with Andy right from the start?
Yeah, so
It's a different ballgame.
for sure, no, and we understand, and we all understand the passion, the excitement that we want to see from Justin. And I think probably the biggest thing, Mark, is for myself, our coaching staff, Ryan, everybody included, that when we get together and we talk about what our plan looks like and we play out scenarios, this isn't, sometimes you can get caught up in emotional decisions. And so I think that's where myself, I have to be really strong there and understand the why. And just simply, if you just keep it super simple and you don't overthink it and you just keep it simple as to why things are the way they are, then it'll all take care of itself. And so I do understand all of that. I think all of our players, if we're being completely honest, I think everybody understands that part of where we're at, but we just got to be able to understand the why behind it all.
Man, what's the chess game with Aaron Donald been like for you the past few years in terms of building a game plan, but also having to kind of scheme around what 99's doing every play?
Sure, yeah, he gets schemed by every team every week, and he still dominates. When you put on the tape, and it doesn't matter if you can scheme all you want, 2 and 3 guys. That dude he's unbelievable. He's really, really special. He breaks double teams. He's a game changer. So he sacks the football, and he's like a running back out there, just flying around on the edge, and he's all over the place. He's everywhere. And when you see that, you got to have a plan, but you think they know that you got to have a plan too. So they have other players that can make plays. So our guys got to be on point. I think it's our job to make sure that we're effective and productive and efficient within the game, however that is, and then take advantage of when we're in the red zone. We got to be better in the red zone than we've been in years past.
Thank you.